Hi all, Jin here, and hey, my first How to Play in a while. There's a lull in content right now and I was caught up, so I figured why not. If you haven't already seen my pool battle for Kurasame with Broadway Saiyan, the link will be in the description, and this will be my Kurasame How to Play, where I go over his kit, EX Plus and LD, and my thoughts and recommendations while taking him into his Lufenia afterwards. As usual, in the pinned comments are timestamps for easy navigation, as well as a link to my full playlist for all the How to Play vids I've done. Everything covered will assume a max Kurasame with the character boards, so let's just go ahead and start with his base kit. His skill 1, Ice Blade Renzan, is an Ice 7 Brave HP attack with 180% overflow that grants himself the unique buff Quiet Instructor for 8 turns that self-enchants Ice, meaning an additional 30% since his skills are already Ice, while giving a party aura of 25% attack and 20% max Brave. Kurasame does start out with his unique buff, which also grants him his 3 Brave hit, Brave++, and HP++, a 2 Brave HP attack with 120% overflow that adds 1 stack of the unique debuff Hyoro if already applied, but does not inflict it. His skill 1 similarly also adds 1 stack of Hyoro if already applied, and also does not inflict it. Hyoro is inflicted on all enemies at the start of each wave for 6 turns at 2 stacks with a max of 5 stacks. It has Ice Imperil, 20% speed down, and HP damage increase per stack, starting from 10% at 1 stack and capping out at 30% with 5 stacks. Aside from being increased by his skills, stacks will also increase by 1 after an enemy's turn, but will revert back to 1 stack if it was at 5 stacks. His skill 2, Multi Blizzaga, is an Ice 6 AoE Brave Split HP attack with 180% overflow that will apply or increase Hyoro by 2 stacks for 6 turns. His EX ability, Ice Reaper, is an Ice 6 AoE Brave Split HP attack with 210% overflow, executed twice, that also applies or increases Hyoro by 2 stacks for 6 turns, and grants himself the unique buff Ice Pillar for 8 turns. Ice Pillar increases his attack and max Brave by 20% and triggers a follow-up 3 Brave HP attack with 120% overflow and 30% Brave refund of HP damage dealt, after literally all of his HP attacks. So the only thing that doesn't trigger this is his Brave++. His LD ability, Absolute Zero, is an Ice 8 AoE Brave 100% AoE HP attack with 150% overflow. It will apply or increase Hyoro by 5 stacks for 6 turns, and grants himself the unique buff Warm Gaze for 12 turns, which increases party attack and overflow stolen by 20%. His additional ability grants him 50% attack up for 3 turns, along with a 2 Brave HP attack with a 50% Brave refund from HP damage dealt. Kurasame's E-Sphere inflicts 20% speed down for 3 turns when hitting weakness, so it will work for him in helping to slow down enemies so that they can be at 5 stacks longer, but since he only has 1 E slot, it's better to go for attack or brave damage. I have Auron Sphere, which gives him 15% melee attack up, but you can also go Seymour, Emperor, Yuffie, etc. Same goes for his A or D slot. You should focus primarily on attack or brave damage. I don't have any spheres that I want to give him just yet, so I do have those slots still open, obviously. And as for arts, again, he wants all the attack he can get due to his constant HP damage and follow-up, so you'd want triple 108s first, and then his C50s ideally, which increase attack and max brave by 5%. And 330, of course, would be his second best secondary option. With the cheap Moogle Pass and new artifact quality of life, I do have him finished. I finished him in literally like 2 co-op runs with the 3x book, so it's pretty insane. I love it. I'm almost tempted to keep rolling to get rid of that 15 CP. It's just how crazy how easy your arts are now. I would have never even given that a thought before. So, how to play Kurasame. I normally would open with his LD to get his LD buff and party auras up right away. Just you might consider waiting if the enemies act directly after him, or it's a trash / not difficult wave, or it's a longer fight. Then you can just open with the skill 2 to get all his stacks up to 4 instead, and then get his EX up ASAP so you can get his EX buff, which allows for his follow-up attacks. His EX is a normal recast, so with 8 turns of this buff, once you cast it the first time, you're going to have no issue upkeeping the buff anymore unless it's dispelled. His skill 2 is best used for AoE shaving and inflicting or adding 2 stacks of the debuffs to all targets, especially when they've dropped back to 1, and his EX is not available. His skill 1 is used primarily for single target damage and to charge his EX and upkeep his Quiet Instructor buff. Both his HP++ and skill 1 can add a stack of the debuff when needed as well, and due to the constant changing of his debuff stacks, always try and plan to have all enemies be at 5 stacks prior to burst or summon phase. And worst case scenario, just pull out his LD that gives an instant 5 stacks if you need to. But just be careful, don't use his LD abilities too close to each other just for the stacks, since you could run out of his LD buff that way. Best is to time his remaining 2 LD uses when it's near his need to refresh the LD buff and the enemies aren't going directly after him. Your other units can possibly burst and or summon directly after this as well. And just generally speaking, overall with your party, it's most efficient to target the enemies who have the highest amount of stacks, especially if an enemy has 5 stacks versus another one that just had its turn and went down to 1 stack. You will get a lot more damage with targeting the one with 5 stacks. And when enemies are at 5 stacks or close to it, that's when your teammates ideally should spam skills more often than versus at 1 stack. Okay, so then onto his cons. As you can see, debuff stack management is a thing with this guy, and so it can be kind of a nuisance, as well as having to plan your best damage during the 5 stack windows for optimum results. Also, if an enemy cleanses unique buffs, then it's even more of a headache. With stacks immediately going back to 1 after an enemy's turn at 5 stacks, your damage output can drop dramatically if turns are not lining up properly. He also does not enchant for the party, it's only for himself, and his damage is quite subpar without his follow-up attack either, so you do have to get his EX up ASAP, and if he gets dispelled, you're going to have to try to get it up fast again. Luckily, it's not that slow of an EX, it takes about 2 skills to recharge. I also wish his AA helped to increase higher row stacks as well, so you can have more control of his debuff, but unfortunately it does not. But then onto his pros, that AA is pretty sick otherwise. Not only does it give him 50% attack up, but it's also a 2 brave hit HP dump that gives him a whopping 50% brave refund. Combine that with his damage up debuff and follow-up attack and possibly some brave regen from a teammate, that can lead to some insane free damage just from his AA. Like during Wall's BT effect, I've done essentially 600k damage in 0 turns, just from his AAs alone. He's also not a selfish unit at all. He actually brings party auras of 55% attack up, 30% max brave up, and 20% more overflow stolen. He starts always with the enemies imperiled, and his own enchant buff is just an extra damage, so even if his buff got wiped out, he'd still hit for weakness damage. And so unless there's ice absorb or constantly debuff cleansing, he's never really locked out of any fights, and doesn't even need a skill to initially imperil. Once his EX buff is up, which he has no trouble upkeeping, all of his HP attacks do a follow-up attack that even give brave refund of 30% HP damage stealth, so he's essentially always having some brave to him. And all that is just a cherry on top of his bread and butter. Well, I'm not sure if that's actually a good meal, but yeah, his HP damage up debuff, which also includes his imperil and 20% speed down, is his bread and butter, with the possibility of enhancing HP damage by 30%, and even at 1 stack it will still have 10% HP damage up at least, which is better than nothing. And all stacks in between are still generally a decent amount of HP damage up. He can increase stacks via his own skills as well as enemies taking turns. The only issue is the time they go from 5 to 1 stack. And also because all of their HP damage up increases are different, Kurasames can also stack with both Charlottas and Kaises as well. So my final thoughts on Kurasame: even though he's obviously not going to be the best damage dealer, he is that amazing third unit that can be brought to most fights to bring extra auras and that HP damage up debuff utility, primarily to pair him up with great damage dealers, who ideally can also take a lot of turns before an enemy goes to make the most of his debuff at 5 stacks. You can think turn manipulators like Noctis, delayers, and free turners like Arden and Soon, Lightning, etc. He's not going to be that great of a unit if you're mismanaging the timing of those 5 stack windows and or the teammates you're bringing with him aren't strong enough to take advantage of that debuff. He's also a pretty great friend though to bring if you apply that debuff prior to burst and or summon phases. Alright, now onto the Lufenia, which I can't say I foresee too much difficulty with. Going to bring Relm with Shiva for the additional ice damage if needed to stop the orb, and then Aphmau for the brave regen, heals, and hopefully a bunch of extra turns when they're at 5 stacks. Probably would just go with Noctis Friend because he dishes out tons of damage and can manipulate turns to get the most of 5 stacks as well. I could also go the safer route with Ami, who can delay for that as well, but I do like Noctis' burst effect, damage, and free turn shenanigans, so let's just go with him and let's roll. As you can see, they start out with a debuff at 2 stacks. Aphmau starts with EX as usual. Relm, let's get her Sketch Plus up. Yeah, let's get his to 4 stacks because they're going to go, and then they'll be at 5 stacks after they go. Holy shit, that hurt, what the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna need to stay above B to break him. Perfect. And then gotta break him and get Sketch Plus up again just in case. Now we gotta just heal with Aphmau twice. Just forget her HP plus for now. Wait, what? This is a new animation? Oh yeah. We got her JP voice lines and extra animations now. When did that happen? Not sure how I feel about that. I liked how it was super fast before. Alright, let's go with skill 1 for a Brave Refund. Alright, perfect. The blinds from Relm worked nicely. And go with the EX. They already have 5 stacks. So I guess I'll hold off on the LD for now. Oh shit. I should have been targeting B with the 5 stacks. Gotta listen to my own how to plays. Let's rebuff and get my EX up. And it's perfect for shaving here. And now let's get my LD buff up, finally, and get A again to 5 stacks. Alright, this guy's at 1 stack, but let's just break him first. Now let's target A with the 5 stacks. Wow, that's a lot of Brave. Let's turn off that countdown. Finally, his EX is up and we can get that beautiful follow-up attack. I hate that he didn't start off with it, but oh well. Target the 4 stacks person. Let's EX before we turn off the orb. And now we can turn off both orbs. What the fuck? Orb is back on, you mother freaker. I'll let Kurasame turn it off. Wait, why did it just target the 4-stack person? Whatever, habit of targeting the higher health person. I'm obviously an amateur. I don't want to get 8 of 5 stacks because he's about to go, and I would just lose those 5 stacks. But I also need to break him though. Alright, I got it. Let's use the AA to break him, and then he can stay at 4 stacks. And then use skill 1 on the 5 stacks person. Perfect. Alright, time to shut off the orbs. Target the 5-stack person. And we'll stay in front of this 5-stacks guy. Get my EX up. I'm learning, guys. And now everyone is back at 1 stack. So I'll use Kurasame's LD next. Oh, the EX is up. I guess I'll use the EX. Getting it up to 3 stacks isn't too bad either. Let's save the launch for the Brave++. Actually, I could have maybe launched the skill 1, but I wasn't sure if the launch would have stayed. But let's go with the skill 1 for the Brave Refund anyways. Alright, on Relm's return, we can bring in Noctis, and then we can have 6 turns with Noctis' friend. Alright, let's stay in front of A here. Let's get them all to 5 stacks now with the skill 2. We'll stay in front of A here again. Now to get that beautiful burst effect up. Oh, maybe I should have targeted B with Noctis. F. Oh well. I want him to stay behind more often than not to save his burst effect more. At least I get these free turns with Aphmau that I can use them for. Brave attack with extra follow-up damage. use the battery skill for the follow-up damage. Alright, now let's move him behind A. And we can stay in front of A to make use of that burst effect. Wait, what? Oh, shit. I didn't even realize. He has way too many buffs from Aphmau. Damn, I'm an idiot. I'm not getting as many turns as I should have from Noctis's burst effect. Well, alright, let's stay in front of A here. Okay, how about we make it up here? Let's just dump our AA since he doesn't have the warp step anyways. And we can get them back to 5 stacks with the LD. And since the burst effect is going away anyways, might as well stay in front of A. I'm disappointed in my lack of effectiveness with this PT run, but it's fine. Alright, still want to stay in front of A to bring Relm in, and then we can summon. Kurasame does have warp step now, so let's stay in front of A. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the new animations for Aphmau. It does take a lot longer. Alright, let's even out the damage some. I'll summon after using this last warp step. Ouch, didn't see that coming. Good thing he didn't kill me. Alright, summon time. Yeah. get B back to 5 stacks. They're almost dead anyways, so we can use our last LD no problem. Damn, the EX isn't up. Let's get that nice overflow. She's jumping in front of B anyways, so the Sketch Plus isn't really doing much. Let's go ahead and blind him though, since he has that all attack. Hopefully the blind comes in clutch. It would be terrible if we died here. Oh shit, that was super clutch, oh my god. Wow, it missed 2 people at least. Ooh, that would have been awful. That would have been absolutely awful, but we're all good. Let's just heal Kurasame back up with the Brave Plus Plus twice, and this should be it. And let's play it safe and get him out of break. We do have enough turns left on the orb, so it won't actually go off. Alright, perfect. Let's finish it off in style. Goodbye. Alright, that wasn't a perfect run by any means. Got the clutch blind at the end, although that was planned. At least I did know to blind him at least, but generally don't want to rely on it. A few times I did target the lesser stack enemy as well, and I could have been more efficient with Noctis's burst effect while I was up, but still a clean enough run to get the job done. I can show you my arts. Kurasame, as you know, has orange sphere, and he has perfect easy arts from the new quality of life. Relm actually has a bunch of refined spheres. Kefka's and Seymour's are pretty great. They give her a 12% attack up just from refined spheres. And I went with the 2-330 since I prefer battery over shaving for her at the moment. Aphmau, as mentioned in my How to Sphere video, is my favorite sphere character. And she has great arts as well. Still kicking ass in Lufenia. Alright, that's going to be it. I hope this video was helpful and worth the time overall. Kurasame obviously is synergy in this Lufenia, but as you can see, paired with Noctis' friend already, the damage was immense. So imagine pairing him with your actual burst damage dealers and not Relm or Aphmau. I love characters that bring utility, since outside of his debuff he does have orbs as well. So that allows him to be able to be used down the road, and he can just keep helping your next creep of powerful characters out with his debuff and last longer than most units. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video, which will be my pool battle with Lufenia for Kuja. So get hyped for that. Bye.